Hello, my name is Kristen Shear, and this is my presentation on the philosophy of education. So again, my name is Kristen. I'm a recently graduated student from Cal State Fullerton. I majored in earth science with a minor in child and adolescent studies. I actually graduated with cum laude and was awarded the department's Outstanding Academic Achievement Award in earth science. That said, my education has always been extremely important to me. It may be because I come from a family of educators. My mom was a teacher as well as my grandma. As that they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My goal is to become a high school science teacher. What is the purpose of education? The purpose of education is education enables children to acquire knowledge and skills that will help them during adulthood. Education sets children up to succeed in the world. A good education prepares students for civic participation and prepares them for employment. The role of the teacher. The primary role of the teacher to me is to impart knowledge that comes from teaching. To do this, a teacher must create a safe place where students feel like they can express themselves and make mistakes within the classroom. Three roles for a teacher leader is one that provides resources for their students, provides support to students, and most importantly, helps to mentor students. So what is the role of the student? There are differing opinions on what the role of the student entails. Some may say a student's social role is to study, to learn, and to attend class. To me, however, a student's role in the classroom is to participate when they feel comfortable, to try to be an active listener, but most importantly, to respect their peers. And that entails making sure that they're not disrupting the class, because even if they don't enjoy the subject, I don't want them to take away from others who want to learn. So again, my subject area is science. I majored in earth science, so I plan to teach geo-related courses. Personally, I believe that science is taught wrong. From my past experiences, I was taught from lectures, and the majority of what I learned was through a textbook, which made me to lose a loving for science. So when I teach science, I want to incorporate a more hands-on approach in my classroom. I hope that this will enable students to find a love for science in my classroom. The goal of a science education is to teach students to use and interpret science to explain the world around them, to investigate scientific explanations. Science helps students to evaluate and understand scientific theory. Lastly, as a person that is colored and a woman in STEM, I hope to inspire students from a background such as mine, because most oftentimes we don't see people in this field. We don't see women in this field or necessarily people of color. So I hope to inspire, again, children that come from a background such as mine. So oftentimes when I tell people I'm going to teach teens, it will either bring a shiver down their spine or they'll have a statement that goes, "Good luck with that." Personally, I think it's a privilege to work with this age group. Adolescent development are pivotal years in one's life. Many of us had hardships during this time because it was a time of physical development and also emotional development. I'll most likely be teaching ninth graders, so that means freshmen. What's special about ninth grade is that these students are incoming freshmen. So freshmen are obviously trying to navigate their way through high school, and I hope to help them do so. As a teacher, I think it's important to empower my students and help them know that they are seen by us, their mentors, and their elders who are going to help them through these transitional years of life. Teenagers learn by seeing, hearing, exploring, experimenting, and asking questions. So I will be handling that and trying to answer their questions to the best of my ability. Additionally, teens learn through learning experiments, so it's essential to let them know that they're allowed to make mistakes in the classroom. And they also learn through environmental influences that play a pivotal role in this process. So once again, the subject area I will be teaching is science. I believe that an excellent way to engage students in new content is to give them visuals. So visuals can come in several different forms. Examples would be an illustration, a photograph, or etc. As well as providing demos to help model concepts that students may have a difficult time to understand. I personally love demos. I think they engage the students and get the students excited to what they'll be learning. But again, also it helps them to understand the topic that they're dealing with as well. And lastly, I think it's so essential to go over vocabulary with students. I think the more words students know going into reading a textbook, the more likely that they are to engage in that text and not get easily frustrated within the text. So I think vocabulary is something that you always want to go over with students beforehand, before teaching a new topic or something that's going to be difficult for students to understand. So for assessments, I think there's a lot of different ways to assess students. I don't necessarily believe in the generic testing such as multiple choice exams. I like giving my students options from oral presentations, or just different types of visuals, presentations, PowerPoints, written assignments, because every student has preferences. What one student might not like doing presentations, they might like doing written exams better because they have social anxiety. Or on the other hand, somebody's strong suit might not be writing exams. So some examples for formative assessments I would assign to my class are 1-minute papers at the beginning of class, probably possibly exit tickets, or self-assessments for students. So depending on the day, those are some examples of formative assessments that I would assign to my students. Now for the other assessment, I would be assigning papers, lab reports, or cumulative exams. I don't believe in multiple choice because I think it's students guessing more so than actually knowing the material. I believe that free response is a better way to assess teenagers on what they actually know. Also, to go along with this, I would also do oral presentations if students wanted to do that route as well. So in conclusion, I think that there's a lot that goes into being a teacher, a lot of responsibilities, and I just like to remember this quote, because as a teacher, you have the ability to change a story, a mind, a direction, a path, a future, a life, an environment, and a situation. Again, there's a lot that goes into teaching, and it's a privilege to be a teacher. Thank you.